having all this pain and wild things happening all at once, having test results come out of nowhere while you're trying to run a business, not being able to really take PTO, trying to lead a team, trying to service clients, and really put yourself out there on social media. It really became a huge lesson of of understanding who you are, right? Who am I authentically? How am I going to tell my story? How am I going to learn the lessons that maybe I didn't learn? Because frankly, a lot of my medical issues came from extended years and actually decades of chronic stress and burnout. Welcome back to the last episode of 2022 for the Dennison Download. Can you believe it?
Oh man, it's already gone.
I know, I know. It's been a wild year. I'll tell you that.
To say the least.
To say the least. I know. I started out, this is how I'm going to approach 2023. You ready? Because I started out 2022 being like, it's gonna be my year. So for those who may have followed my other podcast, or followed me at the beginning of 2022, I was really big into this year because my birthday is February 2nd. So 2/2/22,
Mm-hmm.
I was real big into making sure that this year was going to be my year. And by the time my birthday came around on 2/2/22, oof, it was very clearly not my year.
Well, it was a year.
It was a year, and I was living it, but it was a tough year this year. So here's how I'm going to approach 2023. I'm going to be very quiet. I am not going to make some ostentatious claim of it being my year. I am going to just lower my expectations. That's how I'm approaching 2023. How about
Yeah,
you?
I would agree with that. I think I beat my chest last year and kind of made all these proclamations of, what I was going to do, and life just throws life at you, and
Yeah.
you've got to figure out a way to kind of keep pushing forward. And those big dreams and goals that you do have, sometimes you just got to be able to deal with what comes and be able to still step forward.
Yeah. You know what? Looking back on this year, this episode is coming out the last Thursday of the year. We're recording it right before that, right? And looking over this year and at the beginning of the year, I really kind of put out to the universe, I want to grow. I want to grow. I want to be able to become a better version of myself. And man, when you put things out to the universe,
Careful.
right? Be very careful, because I will say this year has probably been one of our most um, growth filled years.
Yeah. A
Yeah.
lot of lessons that came from what we asked for, right? We asked
Yeah.
for the growth. We wanted it, but we didn't expect it to come the way it did we?
Yeah. So just a quick recap. Just in the Dennison household in 2022, we were really looking to accelerate our business, scale to the next level. And then we got hit with some major medical news for me at the beginning of the year and around February, March. And it was scary. We had a cancer scare. Thankfully, I'm okay. We had a tumor scare. Scans showed that I have a tumor on my liver. And that was really scary, as tumors in my family have been detrimental. And luckily, that is a benign tumor that I don't have to worry about. We'll just keep an eye on. Gallbladder issues, colon issues, and things like that. And it was really scary trying to figure out all four of these things coming all at once, as well as some menstrual things and whatever. Having all of this pain and wild things happening all at once, having test results come out of nowhere while you're trying to run a business, not being able to really take PTO, trying to lead a team, trying to service clients, and really put yourself out there on social media. It really became a huge lesson of of understanding who you are, right? Who am I authentically? How am I going to tell my story? How am I going to learn the lessons that maybe I didn't learn? Because frankly, a lot of my medical issues came from extended years and actually decades of chronic stress and burnout. And so it was a big lesson and a big year of growth, not in the way that we anticipated. When we set it out, we wanted growth in the business, growth in abundance, growth in our marriage, growth for our clients. And really it was more internal growth for us, right?
Yeah, it's funny how we to use something that many of my fellow comic book friends might recognize, the bat signal, right? We
Oh,
put
yeah.
the bat signal up for the universe to know that we were coming, that we wanted growth. We asked for it. But the problem is the universe then took that signal and shined it right back at us and
Yeah.
basically said, okay, this is what you want. Well, in order to get there, here's the things you're going to need to overcome. I'm going to take you to the highest highs, and then I'm going to drop you to the lowest lows to see if you can pick yourself back up. Can you help build the plan to show others what they need to do and what they need to follow to be able to uplift themselves, right? When we were having this conversation just the other day in the car, where we were talking about this, how we've learned to play in the clouds. We've learned to build those castles in the sky. We can do it, right? It's about the vibration. It's about making sure that you put yourself in the right space, being creative and living to learn in your masculine and feminine energies. But at the same time, you also need to make sure that you have a plan for when life has you at the top. And then things are going to happen that are going to drop you like a rock.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the conversation that we were having, right, it was really interesting as we were going through all of this stuff this year. You and I got really not only close to each other, but we really became aligned with in our spiritual walk, right? Our spiritual relationship with God, the universe, whatever you call it, right? And it was really great. And for a while there, we felt like we were in complete flow, right? We got some really good news about the medical stuff, which was fantastic. Spending half a year thinking you're going to die and then getting the news that, hey, everything's going to be okay. And as long as you manage, your lifestyle, you're going to have a long and healthy life, God willing, right? And that was in line. The business started kind of becoming in flow and aligned as well. And it really felt like we were back on top of the world again, right? And then in about October, November, things started falling apart again, right? We had some changes in the business. Things weren't going well. The economy started, the news, right? Recession, layoffs, all this other stuff, right? And so being in the business that we were, it started crashing again, and we didn't feel like we were aligned anymore. We sort of felt, at least in my mind, I sort of felt abandoned, right? Like, what, we worked so hard. We really worked to learn the lessons, and now it doesn't feel like the universe or God is on our side anymore. And that was a tough lesson too. And we've been hearing from like our coaches and all the people that have been with us throughout this journey. Oh, stay positive. Just remember, be aligned, do the things, right? And what was frustrating for you and I, and that conversation we had in the car, is how when you're so darn down in the dumps, right? In that pit of despair, how do you just climb out? And we don't ever want to be those coaches that lose sight of that, right? And or those people or those entrepreneurs or those influencers or whatever the heck we end up being, years down the road. Because the fact of the matter is that all of those things are great when we're aligned. Yes, we want to talk about how we've transformed and all of the amazing things that are happening in our world. But the fact of the matter is that it's, especially for me, right? And I know I won't speak for you, but for a lot of people, myself, I suffered from depression, anxiety, panic, a lot of mental health things. And going down into that depth of despair, it's not as easy as just saying, well, don't be there anymore. Choose not to be there. Just choose positive, right? Where's the bridge? And so what we were saying is, we want to be that bridge. We want to show you that there is a staircase out, a rope ladder, a rope, a staircase, whatever, to climb out of those depths, because we've done it. We've done it not just once or twice, but multiple times. And it's hard as hell,
Mm-hmm. Each
but it's
time it seems
possible.
to be harder than the last, but at the same time, what we don't realize is that every time something comes up, you're stronger than you were the last time.
Yeah.
You have more tools than you did the
Mhm.
last time. The key is, are you using those tools? Are you
Yeah.
using the right combination of those tools?
Yeah.
Because usually the next test builds upon the last, right? It's not the
Mhm.
same.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's something that we've been doing, right? Is it got dark a little bit for us in November. It got tough. And we decided that we're not going to wait until the new year to start making changes, right? December for us is a little bit slow in the business. And we decided, let's capitalize on this time. Let's figure out ways that we can use our tools that we learned this year of growth, of lessons, of gathering our toolkit to work on our mindsets, to help transform us. And let's put it into action, right? This whole year has been a year of learning those lessons, of those growths, and now it was like we were at that test, right? And so it happened to be one of the darkest days was the last day of November for us, and then the first day of December, we looked at each other and we said, we can't end the year like this. And so we ended up proposing a challenge to each other, and it sounds sillier than it is.
It's a little silly.
Why don't you tell us? Go ahead.
Yeah. So you had this idea where you looked at me and you were like, I want to try a self-care challenge. Would you be up for something like that? And I was like, self-care challenge? What do you mean? Is this kind of like the icebox challenge? Like what is this like? And you said, well, what I'd like to do is I'd like to, instead of waiting for January and doing resolutions, why don't we use this month to really see if we can better ourselves and put ourselves in back in that flow state and get ourselves back to that high level of the vibration scale by self-care. And we haven't necessarily had the best month, so let's make sure, even if next month isn't awesome, let's make ourselves feel awesome.
Yeah.
Let's go into 2023 feeling the best that we can. And there isn't a better way to feel good than prioritizing self-care.
Yeah, absolutely. And it sounds silly, right? But I want to talk about what self-care really is in my mind, right? Because a lot of times when we see self-care online or social media, etc., when I used to think about self-care, it was like, oh, bubble baths and like a bonbon or a piece of chocolate or whatever, right? And don't get me wrong, all of those things are great. I love me a piece of chocolate. I'll do a bubble bath every once in a while. More of a shower girl, but whatever, right? When I started this challenge, that day I happened to already kind of have on my schedule something that I was going to be doing that day to emotionally process some of with a tool, some of my emotions, right? And this is a really great tool that I had gained from actually Rebecca Simmons, friend of the pod, who was on a couple weeks ago, and it was called Swamping. And this is basically what you do is you create a playlist, and the playlist is for a couple of songs per emotion, and the emotions start with sadness or grief, then they go up to anger or rage, then they go to lust, and then they go to joy and happiness. And the point of this is for you to listen to this playlist. You do 2 to 3 songs for each emotion. You listen to this playlist, you feel the emotions, and it works your emotional scale up the vibrational, or your emotions up the vibrational scale, and you're releasing these emotions as you go up. And it's truly a transformative exercise to do. It really is, in order to just start shifting things around. And that day I felt so much better that I wanted to start looking at other tools that I can use to help shift me away from that really dark, depressive state that I was in.
Mm.
And what was really great about it is that I didn't want to just rely on the same tool over and over again every single day, right? I wanted to get creative. I wanted to do things differently every day. And the reason why is I wanted to set the habit now to hopefully set myself up for success in the new year. And what's great is I've started exercising again. I used to do stretching and a little bit of Pilates and yoga, and now I'm doing that again. I've started journaling again. I've got, a journal. I was doing that pretty consistently earlier in the year and I kind of fell off. So I'm back to doing that again. I've done a couple of different morning rituals, things like that. You and I've gotten into a better routine in our morning ritual of cuddling and doing meditations and really connecting, which has been fantastic. I've also found some ways to really set my future self up for success, right? Going through our budget, tracking our expenses, organizing our files, making smoothies and batching them out. It's been really, really exciting. And one of the days that I wanted to share with our audience, before we kind of hear how it's been going for you, is about 2 weeks in, actually about 10 days in, I said, what I've noticed after 10 days of self-care. And I listed all of the things that I've been noticing after just 10 days of doing this consistently and challenging myself to think of different ways. I'm in a better mindset. I'm less depressed. I'm less angry. I'm feeling more strategic. I'm feeling more hopeful. I'm sleeping better. I'm more productive. I'm more creative. I'm thinking of ways to optimize or help future me. I feel better and healthier. Jack and I are more connected and I'm feeling more aligned and in flow. And that's just after 10 days of doing this. And today is actually the 20th and it's now double the amount of time. And I still feel like that's true. And it's been really exciting. How's it been going for you?
For me, it's really been this recentering that I was
Mhm.
hoping for it to be because much like you, November just made me feel off center. I felt like I was trying to find my way back to find that balance. And with the self-care of implementing so many of the tools that you mentioned, but for myself, working out, journaling, listening to certain meditations, binaural beats, TED Talks, doing sales training consistently and sales reviews and really building in a lot of different things that are just helping me feel better on the day to day. I noticed that my sleep has gotten better. I'm sleeping through the night, whereas before I would wake up in sweats. And also at the same time, I'm noticing just the positive frame of mind that I have on the day to day. It I'm typically a positive person. I find myself there, but I think there was a period there for a couple months where I was kind of like 50-50, and I could go either way. And that has really shifted here 20 days into this challenge.
That's awesome. So I would love to challenge you all. If you're listening to this, if you're trying to figure out a challenge, I know a lot of people do dry January, a lot of people do a lot of different things. What I am considering self-care is doing one thing a day that either takes care of me on a personal level, to fill my cup back up, or takes care of future me, right? Does something to make me feel like I'm bettering myself as a person. This has been a transformative exercise for us, and it has shifted our mindset a lot. So I would highly recommend it. The thing that we both did today is what we're going to talk about at the second half of the show, but let's take a quick break. We'll do a little ad and we'll be right back. All right. If you're ready for a transformation, not sure where to start in the new year, we suggest looking at where your money comes from. Your career, it funds your life. And if you're feeling burnt out, unfulfilled, or stagnated in your career, that can easily start to bleed over to the rest of your life. Most high achievers and leaders are great at what they do, but when it comes to finding that next level or a company that aligns with their values, attempting a job search can be frustrating at least and demoralizing at most. The traditional job search of submitting your resume to job boards, it usually only yields about a 2% ROI when it comes to interviews. This can leave you feeling anxious, rejected, and with feelings of imposter syndrome. Here at OCS, we want to help transform your job search. We help by giving you the branding on your resume and LinkedIn profile that sets you apart as the industry leader or professional that you are. But we don't stop there. We give you the proven strategies that empower you to be the leader you are in your career within your job search. We get you directly connected to decision makers, and we teach you how to tell your impactful story to leaders at companies you're excited to work with. Book your free consultation either with myself or Jack at bit.ly/callocs. That's bit.ly/callocs. On this free call, we will dive deeper with you into your career goals, show you how we can help support you in achieving them without the frustration and rejection most job seekers feel, and help transform your mindset and gain invaluable skills you'll use throughout the rest of your career. The first step to the next chapter in your career is just a couple of clicks away. Book your free consultation with us now at bit.ly/callocs. All right, welcome back. So, Jack, our self-care thing that we did today is sort of having to do with the new year.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is a new thing for you. This is something I introduced you to this year, yeah?
You introduced me to it, and I tried it this year, but I did it, but I think I can do it better.
Okay.
I think I could do it better next year.
Okay. So we're going to talk about the one word, the one word for the year. So this came about a few years ago, at least I remember it coming about a few years ago, in order to replace the New Year's resolution. So overwhelmingly, the New Year's resolutions tend to set people up for failure. I remember setting New Year's resolutions as a kid or when I was younger. And for me, since my birthday is February 2nd, I used to always have a grace period. If I fail my New Year's resolution, I would start a birthday resolution and give myself kind of a 33-day trial period. But it always got so frustrating, and it would always set my New Year's up for failure, and a great way to beat myself up if I couldn't or broke my New Year's resolution. Why I really like the one word is because it really aligns with what you and I talk about a lot. And it aligns with visualization, which is something that I really like, and visualizing who you want to be in the new year. So I kind of did some research, and this is a 3-step process. So the 3-step process, the first step is really envisioning the kind of person that you want to be in the new year, or the type of person, if there's someone else that you admire, who that person is, and sort of emulating who you want to be in the new year, right? And just a tip for just a Kara Dennison tip, try not to envision someone completely different. When I say envision someone else that you admire, that's for step 2, right? But try and envision yourself, and just yourself slightly different, or slightly the better version of yourself in the new year, right? Step 2 is to write down all the characteristics that that version of yourself has, right? And this might be a really good, I got stumped here, right? Like, what does that characteristic have? And I started thinking about some characteristics of other people that I really admire. That helped me write down characteristics. That's where I got into the other person part. So first step, envisioning the person that you want to be in the new year. The second step is really writing down the characteristics that person has throughout the new year. And then the third step is really boiling it down to one word that that person embodies in the new year. So with that being said, I'll kind of read off what I did, and I'll tell you what my word is for the new year. So now that you guys kind of know how our year went in 2022, what I really envisioned was, thinking back on 2022, our year was a lot of ups and downs, a lot of unknowns, a lot of bumps in the road, a lot of trusting and untrusting, and a lot of scariness, right? So for me, step 1, the kind of person that I want to be, really trust God, trust the universe. They are in flow. She trusts herself, and her body is aligned, is healthy, is happy, is wealthy, is abundant, brings joy to others. She knows her shit. She gives back willingly. She has boundaries. She is knowledgeable, right? So that's kind of the person that that she is in the new year. She's confident in herself, in the universe, and the decisions that she makes. The characteristics that she has is confident, generous, funny, unassuming, powerful, aligned, wise, important, kind, and trusted. And so my one word for the new year for me is trust. I really want to
Mm.
embody trust because I spent so much of this year feeling unsure, right? Not sure of myself, not sure of the future, not sure of the decisions that I'm making. And so
Hmm.
I really want to operate in trust in the next year. Trust in myself that I'm making the right decisions, trust in the universe, trust in my team, trust in you, trust in our business, trust in our clients, trust that the right clients will come. So I feel that the type of person rather that I want to be, trust. So that's
That's
me.
beautiful.
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate that.
I did mine differently.
Okay, that's okay. It's each their own. Tell me about
S-
yours.
So mine last year, you probably already know it. It was discipline.
Oh
My
yeah.
word for last year was discipline because I decided last December that I really wanted to start working out for myself and start taking care of my body.
You really
Because
stuck to that. You really did.
I did, and
Yeah.
it's crazy because I started it working out in the cold in January in our garage, just with minimal equipment. And I started with calisthenics and core work, and lo and behold, 12 months later, I've stuck with it, doing it anywhere between 3 and 5 days a week, every single week, showing up for myself and being disciplined. Um, but when you talked about the one word for next year, I reflected on this past year. And while I was proud of myself for being disciplined, a lot of the things that happened, I handled them as best as I could.
Mhm.
And with talking about some of the things that you dealt with, such as health and making us wonder, are you going to be here potentially? Um, I've decided that next year my word is fearless.
Ooh. Okay. Okay.
And the reason for that is because I think that while it was amazing to gain the habit of discipline, I think being fearless in all moments going forward will allow me to be the best version of myself to rise to any moment that we might need uh, in execution
Mm.
moving forward. Because I think for us in our relationship, having not necessarily dealt with a lot of health things for either of us up until this point, at least minimal,
Mhm.
um, I think that it was scary for
Yeah.
me and that there was a lot of fear that arose that I was not um, prepared to deal with. And I think that there are elements of that fear that creep in when we're least expecting. And so I believe that me just being fearless will allow me to be the best version of myself next year.
Mm. I really like that. Can I challenge you?
Always.
What happens when you do experience fear next year?
It's going to come, but it's being able to act in the fear. It's
Mm.
not running away from it, not shying away from it, not doing the easy thing in
Mm.
the moment of fear, showing up and doing the tough thing in spite of, right? That that's the key. And I know that if I do that, not only will I be in the best possible place, but I know our business will be in a great spot. I know we will be in a great spot. I know everything that we touch will be fine.
Mm. I hate that I'm even bringing this up, but could I make a suggestion for a different word for you?
You can try.
I could try. Okay. Could I suggest courage? And here's the reason why is I don't know if it's possible to be fearless because I think fear is going to come no matter what. It's what you do when that comes.
I think you're right. I think being courageous is being fearless. I think those words are synonymous with one another.
Okay. I always
It's a
thought
good edit.
maybe fearless was the absence of fear, and courage is acting whether or not you have fear or not.
Well, we might need to pause and re-record this podcast.
No. I just think it's interesting. I really do. I think it's a really, really good topic. I think it's a great word too, because I'll be honest, you handled this year really, really well. And you do a lot of things with a lot of courage. And I'm excited to see what the next year brings, because this year was scary as hell. It really was. And I'm excited to see what next year brings when we add trust and courage or fearlessness to our year. I'm excited.
It's going to be a fun one.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. Well, for our listeners or our watchers, those who watch on YouTube, thank you for watching. I hope that you have a great new year, and I would love to know what your word is. So if you're following us on social media, we are on Instagram at The Dennison Download. We are on Facebook. We have a Facebook page called The Dennison Download Podcast. Make sure to follow us along. Leave us a 5-star review on Spotify, iTunes, wherever you watch or listen rather to the Dennison Download Podcast. We would love to receive a review. We read all of them. It would make us super, super happy. And we will be back with brand new podcast episodes in the new year. We have some incredible, exciting new guests. So if you are sick of hearing my voice, I know I talk a lot, and you want more of Jack and some more of really incredible guests, we've got incredible guests coming up. Some really amazing people and their transformation stories. So stay tuned. Make sure that you're subscribed. And from our family to yours, have a great New Year's.